welcome my dear friends and students. In today's video, I am going to explain the expression for pressure due to imaginary cylinder at three different stages. The first one, when that cylinder is completely deep in water. Second one, when it is moved through certain depth. And third one, when it is just above the free surface of the liquid. In that three cases, we have to find the expression for pressure due to imaginary cylinder. In previous video, we already explained what do you mean by atmospheric pressure, what do you mean by absolute pressure, what do you mean by gauge pressure. The pressure exerted by the atmosphere, that is the different layers of air present around us, that is the atmospheric pressure. The pressure which is the sum of, that is gauge pressure and atmospheric pressure, called as the absolute pressure. And the pressure whose value is less than atmospheric pressure, that is called as the vacuum pressure. Here the gauge pressure is the pressure relative to atmospheric pressure whose value is greater than the atmospheric pressure. Now here we have to consider the same topic, but here we have to find the expression for pressure when this cylinder is deep in a liquid. Now first of all, we have to find the expression for pressure due to this cylinder which is deep inside the liquid. Now in order to find this expression, so what is our first consideration? We have to consider one vessel containing any liquid, that is the water. So that's why I write here the first point as consider a tank or vessel filled with water. Then second point is we have to assume one cylinder. This is our assumption. That's why I write here assume an imaginary cylinder of base area A. Cylinder has this base area. That's why both base area we have to consider as the same, that is the A. And height of the liquid inside the cylinder is find out by considering the distance between that two base area. Here we consider the first base area place at x1, second this base area place at x2. That's why the height of liquid inside the cylinder is given by x1 minus x2, that is equal to h. Then third point you have to consider when this cylinder is completely deep in a liquid, then which are the forces that are acting on that cylinder. In third point, we have to consider the different types of forces that are acting on that cylinder. So I draw here the three forces that are acting on the cylinder. So which are they? The first one, force F1, which is acting downward direction because of here the weight of the water column. Whatever here the water present at the top surface, that is the force F1 which is acting downward direction. Then force F2 which act in upward direction but at the bottom surface. F1 is the force which act at the top surface. F2 is the force which act at the bottom surface. And whatever the liquid present inside that cylinder, we have to consider the weight of that liquid because of the gravitational force. So that's why right here the gravitational force on the water enclosed in the cylinder, which is equal to weight, that is the mg. Now here, as the water which is present inside the cylinder is in static equilibrium, it means at a rest position, whatever the forces acting on that cylinder that are balance each other. So before moving to the further point, let us revise again. Here we have to find the expression for pressure because of the cylinder which is completely deep in a water. For that you have to consider one cylinder, or before that we have to consider one tank, that is the vessel filled with the water. Second, you have to consider the cylinder whose base area, that is the A, and the height of liquid which is present inside the cylinder, that is x1 minus x2, which is equal to h. Then in third point you have to consider the different forces which are acting on that cylinder. There are three types of forces acting on cylinder. The first one, F1, which act at the top surface because of the liquid present above the top surface. The force F2, which act in upward direction at the here bottom surface because of the liquid which is below the cylinder. And third one, whatever the liquid present inside the cylinder, that force is a gravitational force. Now we have to consider these three forces. As water is in static equilibrium, therefore forces of the cylinder that are balanced. Now from the figure it is very clear that two forces acting in downward direction and one force that is acting in upward direction. The force which is acting in upward direction, that is the F2, and two forces which are acting in downward direction, that is F1 and mg. So that's why we write here a very important equation, that is F2 equal to F1 plus mg. Now we have to find the value of F2, F1 and m. So we can easily find out the value of F2, F1 and m by using the formula, that is P1 equal to, as pressure equal to force upon area. We considered here P1 and P2, that are the pressure at top and bottom of the cylinder. So we can find the value of F1 as by using the formula P1 equal to F1 by A, P2 equal to F2 by A, because the base area that is same for the cylinder. That's why no need to write A1, A2. So we write here the common thing, that is the area A. So P1 equal to F1 by A. This gives F1 equal to P1 into A. P2 equal to F2 by A. This gives F2 equal to P2 into A. Again we have to find the value of mass. Therefore as density equal to mass upon volume, therefore mass equal to density into volume. Put the value of volume of cylinder, which is equal to area into height actually. Here we find the height by considering the distance between the two levels, that is x1 and x2. So that's why I write here h as a x1 minus x2. So here the value of m, that is density of water into area of cross section of the cylinder, that is base area, and x1 minus x2. By putting all these three values in equation 1, we have what is the value of F2? The value of F2 is P2 into A. So that's why I write here P2 into A. What is the value of F1? That is P1 into A. What is the value of M? Rho into A into x1 minus x2. Now by cancelling this A, we have P2 equal to P1 plus rho G in bracket x1 minus x2. If we denote this x1 minus x2 as a height of liquid column inside the cylinder, so we can write the same expression as P2 equal to P1 plus rho GH, where P2 is the pressure which is exerted at the bottom of cylinder, P1 is the pressure exerted at top of the cylinder, rho density of water, G acceleration due to gravity, and H is the height of liquid column which is present inside the cylinder. So this is the required expression for the pressure where that cylinder is completely present in a liquid. Now consider the second case where this cylinder is in such a way that whose top surface, that is in a air, and here from that free surface that cylinder is in water. In first case, the total cylinder is in liquid, that is in water. Here we have to consider the top surface is just touches the free surface, that is the where air is present, and here bottom is totally inside the water. Now in first case we have already obtained the equation for pressure as P2 equal to P1 plus rho g, and here the distance between the two base surfaces, that is x1 minus x2. Now when we consider the position of cylinder like this as shown in figure, then we have to find the expression. Now that can be easily find out by putting certain values. Now when we consider here this base surface, that is the top surface of cylinder, is at distance x1 and bottom is present at distance x2. Now as we measure the distance from this end, that's why at this end distance will be 0. That's why we put here x1 equal to 0. And we have to move in downward direction. So as per sign convention, the distances that are measured in downward direction, that is taken as negative. So that's why I have to put x2 equal to minus h. So if we put these two values, x1 equal to 0 and x2 equal to minus h, then we have x1 minus x2 equal to simply h. Now you have to again put the values of pressure. Now P2 equal to the pressure which is present or which is at the bottom surface. So I write here P2 equal to P, and as this is the top surface of the cylinder which is in air, that's why here we have to consider the atmospheric pressure. So put the two values, P2 equal to P and P1 equal to P0. So actually where here putting the three values, x1 minus x2 equal to h, P2 equal to P and P1 equal to P0 or P0, that is the atmospheric pressure. Then the same equation can be written as P equal to P0 plus rho GH, where P is the total pressure, then P0 is the atmospheric pressure, and rho density of water, G acceleration due to gravity, and H is the actually depth. As we are moving in downward direction, generally we denote H as a height, but here we have to move in downward direction, so that's why keep in mind here H represents the depth of the liquid column. So total pressure at depth H below the surface, that is the below the free surface, is the sum of atmospheric pressure and the pressure due to the liquid at at depth H. Now in third case we have to find the pressure at a distance D above the liquid surface. Now look at the figure. Now we have to consider the cylinder in such a way that its bottom surface just touches the free surface of the water. This is the same liquid taken, that is the water. This one is a base surface. This one is a top surface of a cylinder. Now in this case, what is the pressure? Now again consider the same equation which we derived earlier. That is P2 equal to P1 plus rho G in bracket x1 minus x2. Now here you have to consider again certain values, that is P2 equal to P, whatever the pressure present at the top, P1 equal to P0 as this is present in a air, that is the atmosphere. So P1 equal to P0. Then now here air is present in the cylinder. That's why you have to consider the density of the air. So rho is the density of water and rho A, that is the density of air. Now you have to measure the distance from this point, from the point x2, and we are moving in upward direction. That's why here you have to consider the distance positive, that is the d. Here keep in mind d is not a depth, d is the distance from which the bottom and top surface that are separated from each other. So you have to put x2 equal to 0 and x1 equal to d. So by putting this value, we have p equal to p0 plus here rho a g in bracket d minus 0. D minus 0, that is the d. So that's why I write here p equal to p0 plus density of air, acceleration due to gravity, and d is the distance up to which we move that cylinder through the air. So these are the three different cases given in our textbook under the head of pressure at particular distance, at when the cylinder is completely in liquid, when the cylinder is below the depth edge, and when the cylinder is moved in upward direction. So when we summarize it, in first case we have the equation P2 equal to P1 plus rho g in bracket x1 minus x2. In second case, when we consider that cylinder is in such a way that the top surface is in air, it just touches the free surface, and bottom surface from this part is completely in a liquid. In that case, we have P equal to P0 plus H rho g. And in third case, when we keep or consider that cylinder in such a way that only this bottom surface touches the free surface of the water, and the upper part of the cylinder is in air. So that's why here we have to consider air is present inside the cylinder. So whatever the pressure at this point, that is equal to P equal to P0 plus D rho A into G. So this is the expression given that is related to the pressure at three different situations. Now let us consider the next point, that is the hydrostatic paradox. So if we consider the actual meaning of paradox, it is simply a situation or a statement with the two or more parts that seem to be puzzling, that seem to be strange. That is called as the paradox. Now here, what do you mean by hydrostatic paradox? So for that, you have to consider one device which is interconnected, which is made up of different types of vessel, different shape of vessel, and in that vessel we have to pour the single liquid from any one of the vessel. So what is our consideration in order to explain what do you mean by hydrostatic paradox? So let us consider an interconnected vessel. So we are considering here four different types of vessel A, B, C and D, whose shapes that are different, but they are interconnected with each other. So that's why I write here the first point. Consider the interconnected vessel as shown in figure. Now here you have to pour the liquid from any one of the vessel. Suppose we are inserting the liquid from the vessel A. Now when we pour the liquid, suppose that is the water, through the vessel A, then what is our observation? What is our expectation? The observation is different than the expectation. That's why this situation is called as a strange or puzzling. Now what will be the observation when we pour the water from any one of the vessel? Then it is observed that the liquid level in all the types of vessel that found to be same. We are pouring the liquid from the single vessel, and after pouring that liquid we have to observe. So what is our observation? The liquid level in all the four vessels, that is A, B, C and D, that is found to be same. Now this observation is somewhat different than our expectation. That's why this observation is somewhat considered as a puzzling, and this puzzling situation is nothing but the hydrostatic paradox, because we consider here the liquid which is at rest position. That's why we use the word hydrostatic. And why we use the word paradox? Because it is a situation which is different than our expectation. So what is our expectation? If we compare the two vessels B and vessel C, what is our expectation? That is, if you consider the 2 points in two vessels, that is vessel B and vessel C, at the same height, at the same level, then here depending upon or observing the liquid which is present in that vessel, our expectation is that the pressure at this point which is in a vessel C, that must be greater than the pressure at the point which is present in a vessel B, because we are considering here, or we are observing here lots of liquid that will be exert the pressure at this point, and here the small gap, whatever the liquid present in that portion, that is small, but it is found that the pressure at this point in a vessel B and pressure at this point in a vessel C, that is found to be same. So this is the situation where observation and expectation that are different. That's why this point is called as the hydrostatic paradox. So from that we can say that the pressure inside the liquid is independent upon shape and size of the vessel. We are considering here the different shape of the vessel. Only the common thing is that they are interconnected and they contain the same liquid. Now here, though they possesses the different shape and size, but the pressure at the same level, that is found to be same. So that's why we can conclude that the pressure inside the liquid is independent upon shape and size of the vessel. It only depends upon the height. It only depends upon the level. At what level we are considering the point. If there is a level difference, then we can surely say that there is a pressure difference. And if we are considering the points which are at the same level, then pressure at all the points that are found to be same.